Good morning, everybody. We are kicking off a brand new month. We are here in March, and I want to talk about the month of February that we had, and I want to talk a little bit about the month that we hope to have in March for one video. So, state of the channel, let's get it. February was so much more lively than the typical Seahawks February, right? Honestly, if your team isn't in the Super Bowl, February is usually pretty dead for you. But that was not the case for the Seahawks this month at all, and there was really one reason why. One reason why I was still able to make a lot of videos. I was still able to get well over 500,000 views. I was able to gain over 500 new subscribers. It was because of the coaching search. And I'm not talking about the head coaching search because that finished on the last day of January. I'm talking about the coaching staff. The offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, being the chief guy who motivated intrigue and motivated discussion. But we're also talking about AD, the defensive coordinator. You've got Jay Harbaugh. You've got pretty much anybody who got put on the staff over the last month, to Kirk Olivadotti, to Scott Huff, anybody. All of that stuff was so much more interesting than the stuff we usually have to talk about in February. If you do not have a coaching overhaul or front office overhaul with your team, and you're not in the Super Bowl, February is just about waiting for the season to end and then starting to put the pieces together for your off season, because free agency starts in March. The only thing that really happens in February that is actionable might be the franchise tag. And sure enough, the Seahawks don't look like they're going to use their franchise tag this offseason, and they probably shouldn't. So, really, the month was all about that, and because of that, there was a lot to get into, a lot to discuss. We had a great time with it. We did some Hawks Nest streams that discussing some of the new hires, some of the new coaches, and that was basically the story of the month of February. It was way more active than usual, and there was way more to talk about than usual because we were actually looking for a brand new coaching staff, and we came out of the month with a really interesting one. I'm not going to say a really good one, but it does have tremendous upside. So I do think that that is more interesting than just running, even with guys that are a little more stable, a little more of a sure thing. This is always going to be more fun because if it fails, it'll probably fail spectacularly, but if it succeeds, it's going to be amazing. So that was the crux of most of the stuff over the last month. There was also some discussion about the future of Geno Smith because we passed the deadline to cut him, and then we restructured his contract, and then we kind of were wishy-washy in our language that we used when we discussed him. By we, I mean John Schneider and Mike McDonald and the Seahawks Brain Trust, and that made people suspicious. And then yesterday, last day of the month, we get news that the team is committed to him, which in my mind should end this right now. The conversation, like if you are discussing Geno Smith not being on the team in 2024, you're just talking about thought experiment hypotheticals at this point. To seriously discuss the real world possibility of Geno Smith not being here anymore, to me, is a waste of time. But we were able to discuss that for a decent chunk of the month. That was at least intriguing, right? Like if the Seahawks wanted to keep on the front page of the news by being wishy-washy with their language concerning Geno Smith, then they achieved that, right? Like if they had just come out and said at the start of the month that, look, Geno Smith is our starting quarterback for the 2024 season and there's nothing else to say, then we would have had a lot less to talk about it, right? But they let us hang around for a month. But the discussions around maybe trading him, what kind of a trade haul you could get, the wisdom of trading him, all that stuff was a driver of good conversation. And then we started to peel back on free agency, where we started to take a look at the guys who the Seahawks might want to go out and get. You know, the Patrick Queens of the world, the Chris Joneses of the world, the down to like the Brian Allens of the world, the Connor McGoverns of the world. Anybody that is a free agent from another team that the Seahawks could benefit from pulling in, we're at least discussing in a video series that is still ongoing. It's still going to be going into March. We still have a lot of work to do on it, actually. But we've gotten through most of it now. And that stuff is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Like, I found on this channel that news, things that actually happened, things that have objectively occurred, are going to always draw pretty much everyone in. When we extend a contract, when we sign a contract, when we cut a player, when we make a trade, everybody wants to talk about and hear about it because it actually happened. But when you're talking about things that could happen or you feel like should happen, etc., those more speculative things, it's only going to pull in a certain subset of the audience that is much smaller. So free agency videos aren't for everybody, and typically that's most of what we would have. Typically, that is basically the only thing happening in February. We're talking about free agents, the guys who are potential outgoing free agents from your team and the guys who you could pull in from another team. So normally that's all we would have had to talk about, and it just would have been really kind of dull around here. But thankfully, we had a lot more going on, and that doesn't happen every offseason, so I definitely appreciate it. And then at the end of the month, we started getting into a little bit of draft stuff because the combine was going on. I'm not planning on really diving into draft stuff until, well, March now. I'm going to definitely start doing my draft stuff in March, and then that's going to bleed over into April. But we did start to dip our toe into draft stuff with the combine reviews, which, by the way, if you're watching this video, you may have missed the videos last night. I posted 3 combine review videos at, I think it was like 6:30, 7, and 7:30, because that was, I was waiting for all the data to come out so I could actually make that video, and it takes a while. It takes a while for that stuff to get tabulated and posted because I wasn't able to watch the combine yesterday. But if you have missed those videos and you want to check them out, then they're on the channel. You can do that. And that's really about it in terms of the YouTube stuff. It was a great month, an awesome month. We killed it. Over 500 subs gained. We got to 16,500 at the end of the month. And honestly, March, because March is free agency, actually free agency stuff, plus really starting to get deep into the draft stuff, we might be able to do it again. So I think the goal for subscribers by the end of March should be 17,000. I think that we can do it. 17,000 subscribers by the end of the month. We're going to do the first wave, the second wave, a little bit of the third wave of free agency stuff, and we're going to be doing draft stuff. There might be some news from the team as well. So all that stuff is going to drive a lot of intrigue around this team. So I think we can do it. I think we can have another month where we push up close to like 600,000 views. So thank you to everybody who's helped make this journey possible over the last month, but of course for the entire time this channel's been up, which is over 10 years now in totality, which is just kind of crazy now. But yeah, March is going to be all about those two things. Maybe we make some decisions on some players. I'm sure we're going to release some guys. Adam's probably going to get released. Diggs might get released. Disley might get released. A couple other guys as well, like Belor might get released. And as those things happen, we'll discuss them and discuss how it changes the equation for the Seattle Seahawks. There are going to be other players released around the league that we might talk about a little bit as well. So yeah, March is going to be another really good month, and we're going to dive into it fully. So that's YouTube. Twitch, we basically only played one game all month. I played a little bit of some other games on the first day of the month, and then last night, the last day of the month, I played Rebirth. But basically, the only thing I played in February was Persona 3 Reload, because I really wanted to finish that game before Rebirth came out, and I did barely, so it worked out. But that's literally, with the exception of like maybe 2 or 3 streams, the only thing I streamed on Twitch. And I think people got bored. I think people kind of got tired of it, because usually I'm streaming 3 or 4 different things at a time. I'm mixing it up. I'm playing 3 or 4 different games. I'm doing Animal Crossing. Oh, I'm doing Fishing Planet. Oh, I'm doing Sleeping Dogs. Oh, I'm doing Fear 2. Oh, I'm doing Doom Eternal. And it changes from day to day. Sometimes within the same day it changes. So I do think that playing Persona 3 Reload every single stream, and by the way, I mean, some of those days I was playing it for like 7, 8 hours combined. It was just one of those things where I think people did eventually go like, I want to see something different, and there was a little bit of a loss of interest. Also, some of my streams were also during the weekday because I wasn't working. But we're obviously done with it now. And at the end of the day, it's not like I'm streaming on Twitch trying to become like some massive streamer over there or anything like that. I stream over there because it's fun and because I'd be playing video games anyway. So why not just do it with an audience so I can talk to people and have interactions with people while I'm playing? So I can understand that February was a tough month for people who like variety or maybe aren't into watching people play Persona. So going forward for the month of March, because overall, I think things on Twitch still went well as they can. We picked up a handful of new followers, people still showing up pretty much to every stream. There are people who love watching me play Persona. There are people who don't really care what I play, they just show up for whatever. Um, March is going to be a lot of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I admit that. That's obvious, right? That's a longer game, and it's a game that I am going to try to get through in a reasonable amount of time. I don't want it to linger forever, but there's probably going to be some other things going on as well. Maybe we're going to reintegrate some co-op back over there because we haven't done a co-op game in a while. I do imagine that I'm going to eventually polish off like Devil May Cry 2, as much as that isn't a very good game, just to get it out of the way. One or two other things might get pulled in as well, like Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is a game that people keep telling me is really worth playing. And near the end of the month, we get a Rise of the Ronin, which I may play at release. I may not. We'll see what people think about it. But March should have a little more variety. And yeah, other than that, on X, things continue to go really well. I'm posting more over there. I'm posting most of my videos over there as well. So if you're following me on X, you can watch the videos that way. I'm trying to tweet like actual text posts more. So if you're over there, you can see me occasionally inject some kind of a draft take or a free agency take. So the stuff that doesn't make it into videos will sometimes make it in over there, and that's starting to pick up. I'm almost at 1,000 followers over there. I'm almost at 1,000 followers on Instagram too, even though the only thing I'm posting there right now is Reels, because I'm still having the problem with the uploader on Meta where I can't upload videos on Facebook or Instagram on a schedule. If I want to upload something over there, I just have to say upload now and publish now. I can't schedule anything. So that, unfortunately, I still can't post, which I know disappoints a few people, but realistically, the only things that I was posting there that was getting a lot of views were the reels, which I'm still posting over there. The shorts, the comedy shorts. So yeah, things are going great. It was a great month of February. I want to thank everybody who helped make it possible. Anyone who subbed, anyone who viewed, anyone who watched, anyone who did anything on this channel. For the last month, it was a lot better than a typical February. And I know that's because of what the team did. I know it's because the team actually made some big changes, some sweeping changes. And that's great because I think those changes did need to be made on some level. And I agree with most of what they did. There's some stuff I don't love, but it's interesting, right? There seems like there's a possibility for great things to happen. So yeah, awesome stuff. See you guys later today, because later today, as I've said before, I plan on streaming the combine on field stuff, the tight ends and defensive backs. So keep an eye out for that. That stream should already be scheduled, and we're going to try to get a feel for how these tight ends and defensive backs look. So going to do something a little bit different, trying to do some more solo streaming on YouTube. Haven't done that a lot lately, but thank you. Go Hawks. Let's have a great March. Let's make it like February was, but better. And see you guys soon.